Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Giuliano here, and welcome back to A CannaChef's Life, the podcast designed to bring value to chefs in the cannabis industry through interviews of other chefs and sponsors. Today with me, I have a very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Chef Jasmine, aka Stinky. I am a cannabis chef bringing you infused pastries and baked goods from Brooklyn, New York. Currently transitioning into Las Vegas, so just out here doing my thing with the edibles.
So, if you don't mind, let's take it all the way back to the beginning of your chef career. Where did you begin as a chef? Is this something you've been interested in since a young age, or is this something you found later in life?
Well, I was introduced to the chef world, like I say, growing up with my mother. I come 6 out of 9 kids, so cooking is nothing I'm not familiar with. So I started young at the age of 8, just cooking, helping my mother in the kitchen with basic, just cooking my brothers and sisters. And then from there, it was like a family thing. You bring everybody together. It's just tradition and what I grew up with. So it's always something that I love. It's like family with family came food, with food came cooking. So that's what I just grew up loving to do, helping my mother in the kitchen. And then as I grew older, I realized that it's really something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life. So the day my mom was asking, she's like, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? I'm like, I want to be a chef. I want to cook. I want to bring people together, introduce food as, an opening table for just anybody. So I launched myself into, I just went to a high school for it. So I went to a trade school. They offered culinary art. I told my mother, I'm like, hey, I'm going to sign up for this high school. I'm going to go here. I'm going to see what it's about. And I ended up graduating from there and taking it all from there. So I took a break after doing culinary school, and I jumped into a different type of field because it was like, at the time, I'm from New York. I was like, being a chef at that time, they were making like minimum wage. I was like 19, like, oh my God, I can't make like $14 an hour. I gotta work all these hours. So I kind of fell back from it. And then eventually it was my calling. Like I always came back to cooking. I was selling light bulbs for Con Edison, part of like this energy efficiency program that they were launching in New York City. And I was literally going to small businesses, these small like little restaurants, mom and pop shops, and just trying to sell light bulbs. And like walking into these like kitchens where these people are working, offering me food left and right. And it was familiar to me. So I'm just like, yo, I gotta get back into this. Like, how did I come here selling light bulbs? And I walked out like, can I get a job? And that's literally how it started. Like I jumped into the kitchen. I came back, my calling was like, all right, I gotta get back into the chef world. Like this is what I've been doing. This is what I know. This is what I love. So I took that leap of faith. I was like, you know what, forget the money. This is what I want to do. And I jumped into it. And I started as a dishwasher. I worked as a dishwasher at this little restaurant called the Meatball Shop out in Brooklyn. And even the chef who hired me, Chef Jesse, he was like, yo, you sure you want to work as a dishwasher? You're a chick. Like, I could put you on the line. I think you got enough skills. Like, I'll show you how to cut a pepper the right way and get you out there. And I'm like, nah, I want to work my way up. Humble beginnings. I come from humble beginnings. So I want to see the back of the house. I want to see where it is that I fit. Maybe, I want to fill out the team. I want to see what you guys are about. I want to see what this industry is about because it's my first time working professionally in the culinary industry. And I fell in love with that. Started as a dishwasher. Within 3 months, I jumped up to the line. From the line, I was doing backups, doing sauces. Like the Meatball Shop is like a little Italian spot making meatball sandwiches, basic. So we do like pastas and rigatoni and like risotto. So it was like I was learning how to make bases like pesto and how to make marinara sauce from scratch and just tweaking like little recipes. Because it's like I grew up in a Puerto Rican house. We make sofrito. It's the same concept. sofritos, the base of every, rice and peas, penne, like all the main dishes that my mom's that cooked for us growing up. So I was like, I understand this, I get this. And then I just kept moving up. From the meatball shop, I ended up like leaving the meatball shop and going to another restaurant and working for another chef and just learning. I was like, I really want to do this. Like, I really want to like advance my skills where it's like I get to that level. So I probably worked for like 5 years in the industry as a chef, from like working at the meatball shop as a dishwasher to line cook to working at Italy, which was like an Italian supermarket, more fine dining style. So, and then I've worked at more fast service, like iPick, which is like a dine-in theater where it's like half exclusive. They have the exclusive restaurant upstairs, and then you got the movie theater you can kick back and people bring you food. So working in these different establishments, I was chasing that New York hustle, getting that New York skill. Like, it was chefs from New York, we know, like, it is a lifestyle. Like, it is a straight lifestyle. Like, so again, I fell back more deeply in love with it. So I love to cook. And then eventually I just started like, okay, I've done the hot line enough. I've done the cold line enough. Because don't get it twisted, it's not all about cooking. There's different positions in the kitchen and working in the industry. So I jumped on it, and I say I fell in love with baking. Like, baking was it. Like, I ended up getting like called to do this job, and they were like, hey, we were looking for chefs. And I think it was Starbucks. Yeah, Starbucks called me. They're like, hey, we're looking for chefs. We're wondering if you're interested. It's more of like a commissary kitchen style. It's not like restaurant style. We're introducing food with our coffee. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, Starbucks selling food now? Like, what? Y'all sell little croissants, little baked goods, and like, nah, I can't. I gotta see what this is about. I went to open house. They showed me it's called the Starbucks Reserves. And I'm like, okay, this is dope. And I ended up getting a job there, and I walked in, and they had bakers there making croissants from scratch. And I'm like, literally, these guys are all from France. Like, they're just throwing flour around, and you see them like pulling the dough out the machines and like literally turning like inedible objects into like these fucking delicious buttery croissants. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? I think I'm on the wrong side. Can I switch over? So I jumped on it, and I could say like I just fell in love with that. And I'm just like, yeah, I felt like a master chef, just creating these things and just learning these things from working in the industry. And then me being a pothead and then smoking with my friends and chilling, I started to realize, like, I could tweak this and I could tweak that. And what happens if I introduce this to that? And it started as a joke, and then it ended up flourishing into a business. So that's where I launched Stinkies. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm about. Like, I'm going to bring you guys exquisite infused pastries and baked goods, and we all going to be chilling, and it's going to be dope. And I literally started with like a home recipe, like coquito. It's just a basic drink that Puerto Ricans, it's a Spanish little rum drink made with coconut milk, fresh coconuts, and we put some rum in it. So watching Magic Butter Machine videos, learning how to make the tincture, infuse this, infuse that. Literally, I started with that, and like I flourished. I didn't know like my feedback would be like so big like that. So people were like, oh my God, like this coquito is not only delicious, but it's hitting. Shorty is hitting, like you're doing your thing, Stinky, keep doing it, keep doing it. And I was like, yo, I really need to get myself out there and push myself out there to really do this stuff. Yeah, that's how I started becoming a cannabis chef, and I'm huge background, and ain't nothing new to me. Just doing my thing,
With your current business situation, and particularly going back and forth between New York and Vegas, can you speak to the challenges that are involved being kind of a multi-state operator?
Ooh, wow, that's a good one. So some of the challenges include like going back and forth. It's like I can't always like be at the demand of the client, like on my own personal like level. Like I want to be more interactive with the client. Like I want the client to meet me directly. I don't want to just be like a email thing or a DM. So if I'm in New York and I got clients in Las Vegas trying to come at me and like introduce myself, it's hard to get over. But now that I'm introducing myself to like different platforms, like I'm learning about Zoom and having visual virtual meetings. So sometimes, it can be a challenge, but it also, there's different ways to get around it. So yeah, like it's kind of hard to go back and forth, but as long as I'm on top of my organization and I'm building myself a team now, I went and hired myself a PR to handle my social media platforms. So those are some, like, as I progress and the challenges are coming, I feel like I'm not freaking out. I'm taking them, and I'm also learning, like, okay, yeah, this is something that I wasn't prepared for. Like, okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna run with it. So yeah. So some of the challenges include like just being here and there and making sure that the product is good, and then I'm reaching out to the people who are reaching out to me, and I'm not missing any opportunities. So it can be challenging to be in both places at the same time, but again, like I have a great connection with the people that I'm working with and the team that I'm building, and I'm opening up opportunities for other people to come in and join my team now that I joined Canna Union. So yeah, challenges are here, but I'm knocking them out the park.
Nice. Now, as it relates to a lot of our other chefs, they have generally one or the other. They tend to be either more on the catering side or more on the edibles side. Which side would you say you lean to?
I would have to say I'm more on the edible side right now, because that's really what the demand was. When I started the business, it was relatively slow, and it was just because I was just introducing it to family and friends. I wasn't really introducing myself to the industry as a chef. I wasn't really pushing myself because I was still new to it. I'm like, how do I get myself out there without, I need to understand the laws, like what it is to get into this. So I kept doing that, and then yeah, I just been jumping on it.
Nice. So then in the edible side of things, when you're trying to push, I assume the ultimate goal is to end up in dispensaries with these edibles. Do you have a current strategy or some sort of plan in place that you're pursuing on that?
Yeah, I actually do. Like, I'm trying to get as much feedback from like doing little events of my own, and like trying to get on my friends and family, and just like the people who I introduce my product to, like reach back to me and let me know what that is. And then also understanding these laws and regulations so that I'm already prepared for it when I introduce my product to the dispensaries. Like, okay, I understand this, I know this, I'm 3 steps ahead of the game because I already prepared myself to meet these minimum dosages and that are these requirements for state laws and stuff like that. So I'm on top of myself about that. And so that's really my game plan, making sure that I'm educated on everything and making sure that the product is like top quality and it matches what I'm speaking about, and not just upfront like, okay, yeah, I got the great product, and then you bite into it and it's like, yeah, this is it really up to par. Like I'm pushing great quality products and educating myself and trying to not like find all these loopholes and get myself prepared like when I am ready to introduce myself to the sensory. Because it's like I feel like now that I moved out to Vegas, it's already happening. So once I understand this, I'm already going to be prepared. Great.
Nice. Now there's one piece of advice I've offered to a couple of chefs, and one thing that I think is a very powerful way to do it once you're ready for it. To actually reach the key decision makers at a dispensary is not always easy. But one thing that is easy is creating social media content that you then put advertising dollars behind, targeting everybody who works at the dispensaries you're trying to get your product into. That way anybody, you know, maybe it's just one of the desk clerks, maybe it's the owner, he's scrolling through his Facebook, he sees your product infused on his social media feed because you thought, I want to be in his dispensary, let me target my ad towards all of him and his employees. That way, before you even have a foot in the door, before you even walk in and try to introduce your product in person, they know who you are and they want your product.
That's definitely, see, learning every day. There's still so much to learn.
Oh, it's amazing what we can accomplish now today with the technology that we have. We don't have to wait in the same kind of line. We don't have to go through the same kind of secretaries. You don't have to just randomly bump into somebody at a party to make your connection. You can use the power of the internet to specifically target the people you want to meet and have them want to meet you.
That's so dope.
Now, along the lines of advertising, with your social media content, are you the one producing all of the content, or are you kind of working with other content creators?
Yes, I'm actually working with other content leaders. So what ended up happening was, you know, as a chef, like we put in hours. Like I want to spend, like I need time to build recipes. I need time to do prep work. I need time to just get the product done, and then also need time to test the product, get it packaged, get it delivered. So it's like, I realize that that's a lot of time. I need to focus on the product and pushing out, make sure everything's top par and I'm meeting my standards. So I ended up like bringing on a PR, and she's been handling all my social media platforms. And she basically, from her experience, pretty much has been a blessing to me in teaching me like how to revamp my Instagram and how to revamp making a Twitter account and putting myself out there more. So she has like extended my follow rates, and like the last couple of weeks she's been sending emails teaching me about like one sheets and like how to create professional emails and how to just create professional photos and like the differences with flyers and reaching out. So it's like I've had her holding me down and taking care of my social media platforms. Now I have that availability to jump in the kitchen, finish my product, do my thing. So yeah, she's been a great blessing to me. So I'm able to work with her. I'm able to work with some of my chef friends. They jump in because they're so interested into learning it. And then since I've been doing the pop-ups, I'm actually featuring vendors at my pop-up. So now I'm creating these opportunities where they can introduce themselves, because I'm all about like just networking and putting people in the right place. Like in New York, it's like a block party. Like everybody come together, we all chilling, and one person know one person. This person needs this person, and that person needs a job. I need a dishwasher server, host. I need prep cooks. I need sous chefs. I need people, pastry chefs who know how to pipe. Like this is a golden opportunity. So she's introducing me to new people. And bringing in all my friends. They're introducing me to new people. We're networking with these new chefs, these new artists. So the team is growing. Like it's just been flourishing nonstop. I can't even begin to speak on like half the people that I've met. And now being part of the Canna Union, like being introduced to even more chefs and more platforms. I'm out of state now. I'm not even in New York. I'm coming out to Vegas. I'm in Vegas now. I'm living the dream. And here I come from Brooklyn, New York, regular Brooklyn girl coming out. It's dope. I'm enjoying it.
So with the whole COVID crisis, and I'm a big fan of networking as well. I'm much more a fan of in-person networking. I would have loved to have been out in Vegas to do this interview in person. But how have you been able to cope with the whole crisis with your business?
It has been challenging because of the restrictions with the travel laws going back and forth. Like I can't move as much as I want to. So as long as I'm on top of that, but it's been a little challenging as far as that part because I can't move around as much. But I am taking all safety precautions. I make sure I do my 14-day quarantine when I get to New York. When I come out here, I make sure I'm on top of my stuff. I take my COVID test every time. It's a little comfortable, but it's safe. And I got to make sure I'm safe so I can deliver safe product and get myself out there. But honestly, since COVID started, business has kind of flourished. So it's been like, okay, I can go back and forth, but people are stuck at home. They ain't doing nothing. They're calling me up like, hey, can you bring this to the house because I'm stuck at home. The kids got to be at school. I got to get them ready, get them on Zoom, get them set up. And I'm just like, okay. Because it's like I got people, all types of people. They going back to work now. So it's like people need that availability. So with COVID, it was challenging in the beginning because I really thought it was like I was working. I was still working. I was still pushing my business. Now I'm out of work as a chef because all the restaurants shut down in New York. And I'm just like, damn, like, what am I going to do? Like, there's no work for me. My residual income is not coming in. But I'm like, okay, I launched my business. This is going to be my residual income. Like, this is what maybe now this is that time for me to push myself as hard as I know I could and push myself out there. So COVID actually helped me push Stinkies out there, and it's been like a blessing in disguise, really. So I'm kind of actually happy, but as long as I'm on top of everything, and I'm just like, I just be on point. Because I'm like, even with the pop-ups, like I make sure that I limit the space because it's still against the law to have large gatherings. I want people wearing masks. I want people we're still in the middle of an epidemic. So yes, I'm comfortable with delivering the product to you, but also in a safe manner. So keeping on top of that, making sure that, and it's time consuming because it's like people don't understand, like I'm trying not to do cash transactions because that's touching. I don't want let's do electronic, let's do social media, like just safe distancing and keep everybody far apart, make sure people are properly washing their hands and making sure that they know I'm properly washing my hands, I'm properly doing what I need to do to bring this safe product. So yeah, I've been on top of it. So blessing in disguise, challenges, always one thing after. It's never a dull moment.
You know, it's interesting. It seems the edible market has been fairly recession-proof in regards to this COVID situation. Every chef that I've talked to has actually had a very similar response. Like, to be perfectly honest, like I'm not trying to brag because I feel bad for all the people that were hurt by this, but wow, everyone needed everything during COVID.
Yeah,
they were always on call.
Like it's so crazy because I even had a couple of other chefs reach out to me, like they just needed help. Like I think I ended up picking up work with like the pizza pusher out in New York and delivering the stone pizzas to everybody because the demand was there. He's like, yo, I can't keep up. Like I need some help. I need some chefs in the kitchen to help me do this, get this stuff out. And me and a couple of chefs, we jumped on board and we was just pizza pushing with this guy. And it was cool, like, so it's like everybody was on it in the New York scene. Like, we was on top, but, like, it was definitely a big blow. Like, we was not expecting that. Like, it was like, you go to 42nd Street, it's empty. Nobody's outside. I'm like, where is everybody? Like, this is the first, New York City, there's never a block you cross that ain't nobody on the block. Never. I've been out here, like, 30 plus years in New York City. Like, ain't never a time I ain't seen not nobody on the block. And now everybody's stuck at home, calling each other. Like, I'm bored. I've been stuck in the house since freaking February, March. Everybody out of work. April is like, I need something. I'm going crazy. Hit me up. I got the edible.
Well, the big thing is like a lot of parents are stuck at home with their kids. They can't just openly smoke in front of their kids.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh shit! Like I need to eat something. I need to do something. I can't not be high around my kids.
Hello, come here, calm my nerves. I go crazy with these kids in the house. I still got to do my meetings. I still got to cook. I got to clean the house. I'm like, baby crying, your diapers got to get changed. I understand. Like it was kind of crazy, but we jumped on it. Like I jumped on it. Besides helping like the people who I could at the time, I realized I was like, all right, this is the time to jump on it and do what I gotta do. Yeah, and literally it has been nonstop. And now I'm trying to move and start hitting different states and start introducing myself all over. Start networking all over. Be in your hometown, be all over in Florida and Colorado and Nevada, back up in Seattle, over there in Washington. Like, it's a scene. Like, it's beautiful. I love it. We bring people together. We bring people together, and both of them combined, like the best of both worlds.
It is.
The
It is.
best of both worlds.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed industries in particular that kind of feel like more family business style industries. And it's weird to say that that's how the cannabis industry kind of feels, because it is feeling more and more corporate every day. But when I initially got into it, it felt like a much tighter knit community and just really this family. So if you needed help from somebody, you usually could just call on. So like, hey, we're having trouble with production. Can you help us out with our quantities? It's refreshing. It's refreshing,
Yeah.
particularly coming from the software industry like myself, which is not generally a family type thing. It's a much more corporate, very demanding, very not. Although I must say, software did do very well during COVID as well, because everyone was stuck at home, and things like Zoom or things of that nature that are only $9.99 a month got huge boosts in subscription because everybody needed it. Everybody needed something.
Yep.
Insane. So in regards to your chef career, I know we just talked about you wanting to get into dispensaries and edibles and how COVID, but moving forward from here, what are your next steps? What's your action plan?
Wow, my action plan. So my action plan is to connect with Canna Union out here in Vegas and start networking out here and understanding these like laws and really getting myself out there on a legal level. And then in New York, it's still a waiting process, but with the pop-ups that I'm doing and the introductions, like, it's almost there. So I'm slowly in the background, like everybody else, just patiently waiting and making sure that I'm in that light once it comes to the east side. So my action plan is make sure that I'm still on top of my game in New York, because that's really my fan base and where I was built at and where I was born and raised at. And learning like the West Coast and then slowly just building myself up and introducing myself and moving international. Who knows? I might be all over the world. That's what I want to get to, so where people understand like, yo, Stinkies is not just about packing weed into a coffee cake or a croissant. It's about like a service and just bringing people together and those good baked treats that everybody loves. So yeah. That's my action plan. Have everybody saying stinky, stinky, stinky. Definitely.
I love it. So now, how long are you going to be out in Vegas for?
Right now, because I'm still transitioning, I'm trying to like permanently stay over here. I've been out here for like a couple of days now because I'm back and forth. But I stood out here for like a month and just got to know, like, introduce myself to Booski and the team and start popping up in different sessions. So I'm still learning in Vegas and just trying to transition from that New York City lifestyle to over here, because it is a big transition. And that's pretty much it. And then like New York is like, it's family and friends, and I'm here, I'm there. As long as my team is good over there, I'm good to move back and forth. But for the most part, I'm definitely trying to have home base in Vegas and still do my thing in New York until I pop up in everything, in every scene, in every place.
Nice. So now, if you wouldn't mind, if you can talk about it legally, the pop-ups that you do in New York, how do you go about organizing those? If you could provide a little insight for some of the chefs who might want to start something like that.
Okay, so again, it's like it's a small industry. Everybody is really low key, really private, because again, it's like we're not there on that legal basis. But like, as long as the people are familiar with what it is we're bringing on the table, like, it's been just a word of mouth thing. So word of mouth, hey, I know this chef does private infused dinners. I'll introduce you, and then we go from there. And that's really just how it started and how it's been going, and it's been going good. And we're keeping about that because we're all about security and making sure that the client is safe, the vendors are safe, we're safe, because it's not an unfamiliar thing. Like this shouldn't, like, it needs to be legal everywhere at this point, right, where we don't have to keep doing these low key private dinners and private parties. So, but unfortunately, we have to do what we have to do. So we keep everything really airtight, and it's like we just word of mouth, introduce ourselves, let it be known, because it's like it's not a secret.
Right.
But again, it is what it is. It
right.
is what it is. It is what it is. But slowly, like I just started. I've been doing pop-ups for like different people and different vendors, and I started as a vendor at big events, and then I would just get low-key location, like my friends let me host in their house, and I'll do a little private party. And that's usually how we just spread the word. And hey, small gathering, come through. We're going to do a little pop-up scene. There's going to be edibles available. There's going to be 420 friendly, so you can just sit back and relax, and we're going to cater to you, especially with the whole COVID going around, because people can't really be outside. They can't be in blue faces. So to come, post up, and we got this nice little backyard set up, or we got this nice little venue in the front, or then my friend has a loft, or who knows. So,
nice.
So it's working. It's working. We're getting out there. We're spreading the word. Like,
so,
word.
While you've been out there in Vegas, have you been to a Sesh yet? Any of the?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been to a couple of Sesh. I think I went to who's these people? Empire Choice Sesh. That was the first Sesh that I went to. Their little hemp Sesh #2. I went there. Found it on Eventbrite. Simple, just Instagram sponsoring it, just talking about it and just popping up. I went to a couple love seminars, pop-up scenes, some tattoo and smoke pop-up scenes. So I've been introducing myself and slowly getting myself as much as I can into it. So nice. I'm like popping up here and there every chance I can. But there's one every day. I'm like, sometimes I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
I can't even keep up because there's so many. But yeah, I'm definitely in and out. I think I was supposed to go pop up last night at one, and I think jet lag hit me. Cause that adrenaline off that plane straight from New York, I got off. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I gotta do this. I had this country, go hit up this Sesh. Go talk to my people, tell them I'm back in town, and then boom, I was out. But as soon as I woke up, back, hey, another scene, day scene, evening scene. I'm pretty sure there's a scene right now. What time is it? Like 6? Yep. Probably scene going on right now.
Probably.
I'm gonna go pop up on.
Oh man, I love it. See, that's what I love about Vegas. There are certain places, Vegas or New York, where there is literally action 24/7. There's always something you could be doing. There's always a way to be hustling. There's always a way to be making money. Like pretty much everywhere else, and I'm fairly lucky where I am. Things close down at 3 a.m. So it's like you can hustle to pretty late into the evening, but nothing beats that 24/7 action.
Nothing. New York is a city that never sleeps, and I see Vegas is lit up all the time. So I feel like I'm back. Like ain't nothing new. They up, I'm up, we up. It's just a time difference thing. But a time zone, baby. We're gonna make it work. So have everybody say military time. That's it.
So one of the things I like to ask each of the chefs is if you could go back and do, maybe just one part or a lot of parts of your chef career differently, what would you change about
it? What would I change about my chef career? Honestly, as much as I talk shit about it, I would probably have pushed myself to go to a culinary school.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that I really like. I'm glad I did it the way I did, but because I was always on that, do I really want to spend $60,000 or $50,000 on this? But I felt like in the beginning I should have done it, and that's what I wish I would have went back and did. Like I should have signed up for these top culinary schools or continue pushing myself to get that culinary degree and continue down that path. But I did it the way where I just wanted to work. I wanted people to teach me and get paid because New York City rent ain't cheap.
Cool.
I was all by myself. I wasn't living at home with my mom, so everything was, I had to pay my rent. I had to make sure there was food on the table. Made sure I still looked fly for my friends and still was out there doing my thing. So definitely that's just how it went. So definitely trying to finish and complete doing that.
Okay. So then if you could offer advice to chefs who are just starting out at the beginning of their career, what would you say to them?
Go with your gut. Not for nothing, because a lot of the times, like, I was overthinking things, like not going to culinary school in the beginning. Like, but yeah, I didn't, but it was just a challenge. I couldn't afford it at the time. Like, is it really necessary? I can still get a job in the restaurant industry, and even though I got to start as a dishwasher and work my way up, it's just understanding those differences. So what I tell people is just go with your gut, like, and do your homework. Don't steer yourself wrong. Like, just go for it. Like, a lot of the times, like, I was just like, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do it. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm scared. But it's just like breaking that fear and building your confidence. Just go for it. Like, the culinary world, even if you're not part of the cannabis industry, like, culinary world is beautiful. Get into it. Push yourself. Like, I've had chefs that left being a nurse because they just love to cook and just went for it. So definitely, it's a great business. It's a great learning experience, and it's so much fun. So go for it. Go with your gut. Keep living your dream, living the life.
Now, as it relates to the edibles and things that you make, obviously with baking and things, is butter one of your primary infusions, or are you using coconut oil, or what is your primary infusion?
Yes. So as a predominantly a baker, like infusing pastries and baked goods, butter is probably one of my number one bases that I use. So I'm using butter when I do my breads and my more savory items. I'm using oils. So I'm using like vegetable oils or any type of can of oils that I can use. Grapeseed oil, avocado oil, because I have, like, with bakeries, it's like sometimes we use nuts and chocolates and peanuts and all that stuff. The allergies gotta be restricted. So coconut oil when it comes down to vegan. And now they have plant-based butters. So it's like learning to work with plant-based butters now and introduce new products and make sure that everything works. And it's part of these dietary standards that these people are like, it's the challenge. So working in as a baker in the regular kitchen is like, it's all about flour, butter. So it's like, I learned how to infuse flours. I learned how to infuse sugars. I learned how to infuse butters and oils. So it's like, I can play with the dish from literally anything because I start from the bottom up. So it's like, yeah, so definitely butters, oils, sometimes milks. Like, when I get those croissants rolling out, like, and I want the whole thing, I'm going to start infusing milks. I'm going to start infusing flours, and it's going to be great. Like, definitely great bases. And it's a learning experience because I'm learning to infuse different things all the time because people are like, can you do this and can you do that? Like, I want to do a tiramisu. So it's like, can I get infused coffee? Can I infuse coffee? I don't know if I could, but I'm about to try.
Oh, so now you've talked about a plant-based butter. How does that? Have you noticed any sort of dosage difference between utilizing or infusing a plant-based butter versus an actual fat-based?
I'm still learning about it because I just invested, like, the at-home little machines. Like, I got a T-check at home. I use the Ardent Flex to do all my infusions. I use the Magic Butter machine to do my infusions. So with the dosaging on the plant batter, like, honestly, they've been testing higher than not higher, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's like cleaner or how to describe it, but the hit, I've been hearing, like, the feedback from the clients that have been, and like, it's more intense than like regular people. But I don't know, like it's still, I'm still experimenting because I'm relatively new. I've just been sticking with the coconut oil, but like certain dishes is like, I need that butter. I need that butter. It's a whole different taste. So I'm still, once I feel like, I don't know if I'm doing the T-checks right, but dosaging on it has been like relatively higher with the plant-based butters than the regular. And I find that weird because I use like a lot of European style butters that are higher in fats because that's just what they say, like the higher the fat content, the better the emulsions and like how you get those extractions better. So I've been following like the book, the book, sticking to that. So with the plant-based, yeah, definitely has been testing higher. I've been getting great feedback on it. But I think it's just because it's like relatively new. So I still got to do more homework on it. So I'm definitely I'm gonna do more homework on that and get back to you on it. Let you know the exact numbers. I might have to post up about that.
Yeah, if you did a comparison video, that would be huge. I think a lot of people would love to see, particularly because of the science behind it and how the fat is fat soluble. So we expect that you want it to be fat, but when you've got a plant-based butter at the same time, what kind of natural fats are in the plant that we've been overlooking? Because obviously, if you can infuse something like a vegetable oil, there's at least some degree of fat content in the plant. That's interesting. I like that. That's very interesting.
Something new every day, like especially in the cooking world, the baking world. Like baking world is science. It's all about science. It's all about numbers and understanding chemical reactions with different products like yeast and salt. Don't mix that together. Like it's great. Great. I love baking. I can bake all day. I love it. I love to get baked and I love to bake.
I love it. So I've only got 2 more questions here for you. And the first of which being, as a part of your career with cannabis and with cooking, did you see it turning out the way it did? Did you expect cooking would fuse with cannabis, or did you expect them to stay separate for your lifetime?
Honestly, I expect them to be separate. I never in my life dreamed I'd be making infused freaking baked goods. Cause it was just like I grew up in like my mom was a strict, she Pentecostal, so all that is like shamed upon. Ain't no drugs in our house up in here, stinky. I'm sorry, that don't fly up in here. So I never really thought that I would take it there. So I really thought I was just gonna stick to the culinary game, stick to being a chef, get myself up there in the industry until I become the executive chef and open up my little restaurants. And I realized working for people, I ain't want to work for people. I ain't like working for people. I'm like, all right, thank you for teaching me what I need to know, but I'm about to go over here and do my own thing. And that's always been my drive and my push. Like, yeah, I can't. After a while, taking orders from people, I'll be like, listen. I can't be doing all this. I gotta go do my thing and branch out on my own. So yeah. So definitely been out there pushing myself.
Nice. So the last question that I've got for you is somewhat selfish, because as one of the owners of the union, I'm curious, what could we do better to help your career?
What can you do better to help? I say maybe open up that platform more for different locations, because that was one of the things that challenged me joining into the union, that I couldn't really identify myself being this place, being in that place. But honestly, other than that, that really is all I can think of right now, because since I've been introduced, y'all been great. But yeah, just having that open availability to different locations, and that's it. Because you got your response time is great. Like there's nothing I can think of that other than that. But yeah, it's definitely been a great walk in the park with you guys. You guys are making it like real simple for me not to complain. So
well, good. I'm glad we could. That's awesome. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, those are all the questions that I had for you tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Before we get going here, do you want to go ahead and plug your social media and all of your upcoming events?
Sure. So I am out in New York, transitioning back into Vegas. I'm doing my thing. I am introducing Vegas to my baked goods. So here's some samples just to look at. We got everything from infused brownies to cupcakes with ganache. I do a strawberry streusel muffins. We got banana cupcakes. I got frosted donuts. So this is what I'm introducing to the Las Vegas area, a little bit of my skills and what I have to offer. And then New York, I'm booked for like little pop-ups. We feature vendors. We try to do it once a month where I introduce vendors to a great location and it's a safe location. You could bring your people through and introduce your product, whether you're an artist, you're a chef, you do clothes. We're open to all of that. And so I'm booked every Friday if you want to do the pop-up scene, and there'll be more vendors available out in New York, Vegas. You'll probably find me at Sessions through the Canada Union, so hire me on site and holla at me, holla at your girl. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. So definitely look forward to working with people, to meeting new people, and moving from there. So holla at your girl Stinkies from Brooklyn, Vegas, soon to be in Colorado, all over. So
Well, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been a pleasure. It's been a fantastic interview. I don't want to keep you any longer, but I'd like to get you scheduled again for another interview here in the next 6 months. That way we can go ahead and do a follow-up just to see how things have progressed for you. So we'll be in touch about that.
looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this episode of A CannaChef's Life. I'm your host, Alex Giuliano. For more episodes, please check out our YouTube channel. For more information about joining the union or sponsoring the union, please visit us at ccunion.org. That's ccunion.org. Thanks so much for watching.